Hi everyone, welcome back. Firstly, thank you for joining in last week's technical session. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a big Eden Hazard theme last week. This week's going to be a Messi theme. We're looking at those changes of direction, those quick feet, the multiple surfaces that he used to give him that little marginal gain. So work on what we're going to work on. Use it as an opportunity to practice maybe some of the things that you already know, and hopefully there'll be a few little things in there that you haven't done before that you can look to work on and improve on. Okay, so here's the first challenge. Okay, so the first challenge we're going to be working on today involves the thigh. It's one of the most underused techniques for me and parts of the body in the game, and it's a real opportunity for when that ball's a little bit too low for you to get your chest on it, but a little bit too high for your feet, to use that thigh to get you in the direction that you want to go in and manipulate the ball to get you away from that opponent is a great tool for me. So the first practice is a nice and simple one. Now you can do it with kick-ups, I don't mind, you can do it with throwing, but what we're looking to do is pop the ball up, roughly level with our chin to start off with, and as it drops, I'm just going to bring my thigh across and use my thigh to push it in the direction that I want to go in. So imagine that pass that comes in that bounces before you, and you've got an opponent putting that pressure on. Just before it gets to you, you haven't quite got time to get your foot up or get your chest down to it, but you want to get away from that person, you want to evade that opponent, and this is where we're going to use the thigh. So it's just here, just a nice simple one, just pushing it away. And then you're getting after the ball, okay? And when you get to the other end, however far the distance is, 5 or 10 yards, okay, you stop it, throw the ball up, and you're using your left thigh again. Obviously, those of you that are a little bit more advanced, you can do it with kick-ups, so you can get the ball up in the air, get a few little touches in, just flick it up, take it where you want to go. You're here, get the ball up again with your thigh, and bring it back in that direction again, okay? So it's up to you how many you want to do. You want to do 10 in a row, 20 in a row. You want to do it for 60 seconds, entirely up to you. But let's give that a practice. 3 sets of that. Let's go. Okay, so the second challenge. One of Messi's biggest strengths is his ability to change direction multiple times in quick succession. So this little practice here just gives you that sort of, that body shape, that movement, getting used to those where you need to put your feet, how low you need to get when you want to change direction multiple times in a row. So the challenge is quite a simple one. Okay, so I have the ball at my feet. I'm pushing the ball in this direction. Now, depending on how much space you've got, depends on how far you want to push the ball. If you've got a big garden, then great, make sure you utilise it. If you're doing this in your front room because you can't get outside, then obviously you need to make sure your touch is a little bit smaller. But this is how it's going to work. I'm going to have a touch out my feet. When I get to, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 yards, I'm going to do a sharp turn. As soon as I've done that sharp turn, I'm going to turn again, so I'm heading back in the same direction I'm originally going. Okay, so it should look something like this. So touch, turn, turn, and then I'm away. Stop. On the way back, what I'd want you to do is I'd want you to make sure if I did my first set of turns with my right side or right and left, I'm then going to go with my left side or left and right. Okay, so it's that multiple change of direction. So forget the first bit for a second, just focus on this quick double turn. So my body shape's in this direction, and we always like to give you a scenario. A defender's coming in to put pressure on. I want to turn away from that defender so that I can get my back to him or her, and I've got them a distance, but they've been really good. They've read that I'm doing the turn, and now they've stepped in to try and nick the ball, and I'm suddenly going to sharply turn again. So those double movements, and you'll see him, Google any footage of Messi, you'll see him when he beats multiple players, genuinely there's multiple directional changes. It's the same thing again. You can do 10, 20, 60 seconds, however you want to work on it, but that's what I want to see. Drive, double turn, drive, stop. Come back the other direction, use whatever foot you didn't use in the first place. Okay, so to the third exercise. Now last week, we worked on rhythm in that third one, and we're going to do the same this week. So it looked a little bit like this last week. So we were doing almost like a clock pendulum motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. But as that ball went away, we cut it with our sole of our shoe, and we brought it back in. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, bring back in, 1, 2, 3, 4, bring back in. Now the principle behind this week is going to be exactly the same, except for that catch at the end we use the sole of the shoe, we're going to replace it with the following. Okay, so it'd still be 1, 2, 3, 4. As that ball gets to there, rather than bringing it in with the sole, you're going to get your foot on the inside of the ball, roll it out, and bring it back in again. Now that was an exaggeration of the sort of distances, just so you can see the technique. So it's from the inside, out to bring it back in. Now this is what it should look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, and bring it back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, out, and bring it back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, out, and bring it back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, out, and bring it back in. Again, You can do sets of 10, sets of 20, time yourself 60 seconds, however you want to work with it, entirely up to you. Give that one a go. Okay, so the fourth one, we're looking at that awkward ball. You know, the one where maybe your teammates won a header, or there's been a challenge for a header in there, and the ball's come down, it's the second ball, and it bounces towards you, but you want to get away, and it's in that awkward position where you want to change direction, but you can't really do it by just getting the ball under control and then pushing it away because you've got an opponent coming to win that ball for you. So we're going to start off. We did one similar last week where it's more of a cross turn motion. This one's going to be with the outside of the boot. You're going to start off with a couple of kick-ups, and it's a chop. And you're taking the ball away from you. And you're really trying to take it on that half volley. Now, those of you that are not comfortable necessarily doing it with kick-ups, you can do it by just dropping it. So it's that motion to get the ball away and get it out of our feet. Now, two really crucial details with regard to the technique. One, it's a half volley. Don't take the ball before it bounces. Don't take it after it's bounced. It's as it bounces. So it's that almost double clapping motion, as that's the sound of the ball hitting the floor and then the sound of your foot hitting the ball. It's really quick. The second thing is your body shape. What you've got to make sure is that as you're sort of bringing that foot round to take the ball, you're outside of your foot. So if I step back so you can see a bit better, if I take that ball there, my body's also already going in that direction. Don't do the exercise, do your technique, and then still be facing in the same direction again. When you get to the other end, you'll do exactly the same. Get after it, stop it, do your kick-ups or throw the ball up, and then you'll work on your left side. But remember, it's really crucial. Only a couple, turn, and you're on your way. Don't get caught, end up doing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kick-ups. If you're doing that, you're better just to throw it up because it takes away from what you're trying to do. Same thing as the other exercises. You do sets of 10, 20, time it, whatever you want to do. Get going, 3 sets of that. Let's get to work. Okay, so the fifth exercise, again, we're looking at those changes of direction, and the most important thing and the crucial thing whenever you're trying to manipulate the ball or move the ball in a way to get away from an opponent is those distinct changes of pace. So you'll see it with the players. They'll be coming towards the player, they'll be having little touches, almost trying to give them that little sniff as if to say, come on, you can come and win it, you know you can, it's right there for you. And just when they step in to try and make the challenge, bang, they're gone. And this is the principle behind this next one. Okay, so you're the opponent. What I'm going to be doing is going to be having my first touch towards you as if you're the defender. I'm taking it towards you, and then it's a chopping motion, and I'm accelerating out the other side. Now the chop, if you can get the technique right, should get you away 4 or 5 yards already. So it's a touch, it's chop, and I'm away. Now what I want you to remember with this is not all of you are going to have the power or the strength yet in your legs to do that. If you can't, get the chop as far as you can and then get another touch to push you away. So you really do want to be travelling a good 5 to 10 yards, depending on the space that you've got, before you stop it and repeat the process. Because when you get to the other end, you're going to stop, and then you're going to do exactly the same exercise, but working on the other foot. If you're left-footed, use the right. If you're right-footed, use your left. So whatever the process is. So whether it's sets of 10, 20, time again, give it a go. I'll just give you an example again, just so you can see the full process. Touch, chop, you're away. Stop it, and then you repeat again with your left foot. Touch, chop, you're away, and stop. Off you go. Okay, so the final exercise, we like to finish with something that's a bit more rhythmic. This time, rather than being in a relatively stationary position, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be travelling with the ball, okay? Now, we know that in those tight areas, those little step overs, those little movements of the feet, they can be that little defining moment that gets you away from that opponent. So we're just going to be working on this kind of process. I'll do it coming towards you, so you can see what we're trying to do and the techniques we're trying to use. So as I'm coming towards you, it's roll, roll, and then you're rolling it through your legs, okay? So I'll show you again. You're going roll, roll, and then you're rolling it through your leg. When you've done that, what I want you to do is roll it in a way that you can then catch it with that left foot and repeat the same process on your left foot. So if you watch me going away from the camera, you'll see those distinct changes. So right, right, roll. Right, right, roll. Those movements. Now, again, depending on the space you've got, depends on how many you can do in a row. You might just do your right foot one way, your left foot the other. That's fine, but just get those movements going. If you've got the land, try and travel as far as you can with it. Get as many as you can in. Try and get that real rhythm going. The crucial part is the roll between your legs, because of what I don't want you doing, if I do it from this sort of angle, is I don't want you going roll, roll, and just rolling it in front of you. That's not the exercise, that's not the trick, that's not the skill that we're using. It's going to be this, roll, roll, and then as it gets to here, I'm rolling it and stepping so it goes through my legs. And then I'm turning, and that's when I'm bringing that left foot in. It's crucial that we get that right. And then, as I said, it's not about speed on this one necessarily to start off with. It's about you making sure you get the technique right. The more confident you get, then speed it up, okay? Give that a go and see how you get on. So there's 6 little challenges for you there, 6 little exercises for you to work on. Make sure you try and do 3 sets of every one. Now, whatever those sets look like is up to you. You can do sets of 10, sets of 20, time it by 60 seconds, but you make sure for every technique you're doing it 3 times. The final thing I want you to do today is a little challenge. So last week, we did a kick-up challenge, and you had to 60 seconds to do as many as you wanted. Even if you drop the ball, if you drop the ball in 11, you could pick the ball up again, carry on doing kick-ups, and you'd start at 12, 13, 14. All that happened was you had to do little toe taps on the ball before you could start again. And it's that challenge to see how many you can get in 60 seconds and keep working on that. Today we're going to do exactly the same, except for it's with the thighs. Okay, so we're keeping the bottom of our thighs, as many as we can do in 60 seconds. If I drop it or I end up using another part of my body, ball down on the floor, 2 little toe taps, get the ball back up again, and see how many you can do. It's consecutive as well, so you can carry on keeping your score. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I'll see you on Wednesday next week's session, and take care everyone, stay safe.